Obey usually look like they're in a pretty solid spot. It just seemed like that time around, they weren't able to protect their backline as much as they wanted to.
Well, having to figure things out is Obey Alliance as they take the first pick heading into game number 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they orchestrate a very similar idea to what Elevate did in the last game, where they leave 2 of those 3 gods open between the Susanoo, Cabrakan, but surprisingly, they ban away the Scotty.
It's not very surprising, though, to see the Scotty ban fall through. You never want to risk it just in case Elevate decide, you know what, if you're not going to ban Scotty, we'll just leave open Susanoo, Scotty, and Cabrakan, and if you take one of those, we get the other 2, possibly.
That is very true. Elevate could be doing some shenanigans over there, but Awilish being locked away. You know, Mifflin has a great start towards this goddess, looking for a lot of this early pressure, not having that same kind of luxury as he played in the last game, so having to go for a different style, and Susanoo off the board as well.
Shots at junglers immediately Elevate. Don't want to leave open Susanoo or Awilish. No risk factor involved. Mifflin cannot get either of these gods, and we saw his performance on Ratataskor, and it wasn't necessarily Mifflin being under the weather as much as it was just unable to find those moments that you'd ideally want as Ratataskor to drop in when there's such a heavy front line that Elevate was able to provide with 3 tanky gods. It's so difficult as a rat to get in there.
I mean, normally Ratataskers will look for the counter initiation more than anything else, and because the fact that Dr. L blink engages and 100 to 0's Delta Marine, there's nothing to really counter initiate after that point.
And how do you feel now with Obey opting to select the Odin actually for the first pick?
Odin doesn't necessarily give you away too much of your strategy. We saw Jelly played in the first game. It worked out relatively well for Obey Alliance, you know, cleaning up the first game pretty quickly. This third game here, they're going to still have the same kind of idea and mindset where they just pick this just to deter Elevate from getting some of these immobile gods.
But Elevate locking away the Neith and Bellona, and Neith is actually a god we haven't seen in quite some time.
But I like the idea of picking up Neith as they banned the Awilish, because Obey in the first game, they had the Odin and the Awilish, which worked out really well together, because even if you did manage to leave the cage, you get pulled back in.
So it's kind of an expectancy for the Odin to be prioritized as Obey trying to sort out more AoE damage to follow up on that Odin ring, much like what we saw from them in game number 1.
And we could see this Neith pick potentially go into the mid as well. We haven't really seen too much flexibility between hunters and mages, at least in the console scene at LAN thus far. But with the draft still relatively up in the air for Elevate, it could be an idea and a mindset that they go for.
And already the bots and Medusa locked away. Really liking the bots pick though on the side of Obey Alliance. Just so much crowd control available can make that such a potent Odin ring to get trapped into in case Elevate find themselves unable to escape. But with the Morrigan response, that just seems like a fun time, because already looking at the other 5 gods selected, there's a lot of possibilities.
Absolutely. Taking away the Fear No Evil from Obey Alliance, having one of their own. Whenever that World Weaver comes out from that dual lane, more than likely, is going to just synergize so much efficiency with the Morrigan transforming into the Hunbats. Fear No Evil on top. The damage could be real, especially if the action is in that soul lane.
Can you imagine 2 Neith global ultimates being utilized at the same time?
Oh my goodness.
That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun.
No, not at all. I mean, like, what Elevate did yesterday was pretty high whenever they had the Morrigan go into double Medusa, making it impossible to avoid one of those petrifies.
And I do also like Obey Alliance's shouts to Kenshin with that Ares ban. That's how you know that something was getting underneath the team's skin and that it was way more effective than what they wanted it to be, is when they're opting to ban away such a low prioritized god like Ares.
Well, it's also the cripple that makes it really obnoxious to deal with, right? Because you're taking away so many tools and kits to be able to be efficient. In the last game, you know, the Khepri couldn't find the abduct, Xingqiang couldn't find any jumps, Medusa could never get away, so taking that away allows Obey Alliance to have more safety in their engages and disengages.
And what are you kind of expecting Obey to try and default to for their last couple of picks?
Well, here, they're still going to need, like, the Odin could be flexed between Dwarst and Jelly, so we don't necessarily know what that's going to get locked in. Delta Marine still has some options, but with Zeus and Vulcan off the table, Rock could be looked at here. There's not too much. There's no anti-healing on the side of Elevate. Couldn't be a bad idea for Obey to go for that route.
And it seems as though the Xing 10 is actually going to be the selection alongside of the Scylla. And now this is another guy that Delta Marine has exhibited a ton of comfort on, as well as plenty of skill.
Ao Kwang. Locked in. This is going to be really spicy now.
That is a very, very spicy last pick selection, considering that that's a god that has a ton of risk and very hard to make the rewards work.
I mean, when you have the World Weaver available to you, and then you have a Morrigan to be able to set you up a little bit further, the damage between, like, you can even go into Scylla trying to help you get into the execute range, or you could just have two Ao Kwangs just diving the backline just relentlessly.
Certainly a lot of possibilities available here for either side, but now we've got game number 3 for the casters to take it away.
This is one of the best opportunities for a Morrigan to really come in and do what she does. Looking at Odin, Hunbats, so Hunbats alone is when I personally like to go Morrigan, when you're up against Hunbats, but there's so many options.
I'm pretty sure it's Checo on the Morrigan as well. I don't think we're going to see him playing the Neath Hunter. And you want Neath in the mid lane to go with the Ao Kwang to make sure the Ao Kwang can get jungle farm and pressure in the mid lane still. Morrigan won't bring enough pressure to combine with Ao Kwang, in my opinion. And the last time I saw an Ao Kwang in the Hunter role was Jermaine.
I actually am not sold yet. I think that we might see the Ao Kwang in the Hunter role on Michael Checo.
No way. No way. I'm done.
I will accept my winnings.
Are you serious?
I will accept my winnings at the gate. And I'll tell you why.
Kwang.
Because Michael Checo is known for playing these picks, like I said.
Well,
but also, Elevate Dr. L is going to just have more control on the Morrigan, and he's a control-esque player. Michael Checo, more of the aggressive nature.
Well, I'll tell you now, Michael Checo will be sat under his tower with very little farm in this lane, and every time he goes up to the wave, if he tries to stealth, the Bluestone Pendant spit coming out from the Medusa will break his stealth and put him back under the tower.
Well, look at where
this is a losing lane matchup if he goes to the lane, which he's not doing.
So last set, we got to see Transonics play Mercury, and it was a much different scenario there. Mercury was able to travel around the map, etc., and do some different things. He kind of played the Hunter role fast and loose, instead being more of a swingman. This time around, Michael Checo, starting with the Bumba's Mask at the red buff, looks like he's looking to be a little bit more of a swingman.
Well, definitely more of a jungler, that's for sure. He's already taken the red, he's going to do the purple as well. He loses the whole wave of experience on the left-hand side, which is not something Elevate really want to do, is give up free farm everywhere on the map in terms of free pressure on the lanes. But at least he's answering back the jungle control, which is where Elevate are trying to excel on now on this right-hand side.
Yeah, 3 people deep on the right-hand side is what they're looking at, they being Elevate. There's Dwarves getting caught up a little bit on his signature Xing Qian.
Got his buff, though. That's all he cared about. He went in, he hogged, and he got out again with what he wanted. Meanwhile, Checo has done red, I believe most of the purple, if not the whole of the purple camp, and the oracles as well. So he's still level 2.
And he's sitting at the top of the net worth chart, understanding. See, this is a very deep understanding of exactly the numbers in the jungle. He understands how much experience and gold he's going to get per camp, per minion in said camp, versus sitting in the lane. With the Bumba's Mask, this is a strategy that Elevate and Mr. Checo have practiced.
Listen, I get the idea behind it, but at the same time, why not just send Kenshin to the duo lane on his own to at least soak these waves of experience? 2 full minion waves went under the tower that didn't get touched by any member of Elevate, which means, yes, they are farming okay right now, but in the grand scheme of things, they're sharing more than they need to because they're losing experience somewhere on the map.
They're also sitting with more gold than their opposition, so...
Maybe, but I still don't like it. I don't think... Look, you've got a lead right now. Could it have been a bigger lead if you would have sent Kenshin to the duo lane? Yes, because why? Because you're not splitting as much experience, and you're still getting out all these objectives on the map.
I mean, sure, I guess, but it's working out. I can't knock it.
True.
They're a first blood ahead.
For now.
For now. That's usually mine. When I disagree with somebody, I usually just say for now and walk away. Aggro says, I'm the GOAT, and walks away. And Hindu just steals whatever somebody else says.
Aggro has never been the GOAT.
I don't know about that.
Has he? He's all right.
All right.
Could be better.
What? All we
worse.
do when we go
Could
to
be
the cast
worse.
together is trash aggro.
You keep bringing him up, so I'm like, well, why are we bringing aggro?
Well, I like aggro, and then you step on him.
Nobody likes aggro. You just
I
like
like
it. You're a pretend like him, that's all.
He buys me dinners.
That's why you like him. Okay, I'll start buying you dinner from now on. I'm joking, I'm not. You'll get Papa John's or you'll get chips. They're the only two things I'll buy you.
Looks like I'm
no
going.
hot dogs for you.
Looks like I'm going hungry. Right now, both these teams hungry to bring this one in our best of 5. Nice and even, 1-1. Starting off a sort of 3-game series here, if you'll follow me down that road.
I do like the Morrigan pick overall, though. Even though like he's in the jungle right now, I would have potentially liked to have seen the Ao Kuang instead. But the Dr. L playing the Morrigan, when you saw the first 3 picks that Obey had locked in here, it was Medusa, Hunbats, and Odin.
Yep.
The dream situation for a Morrigan is to look at the enemy team and go, okay, which spicy ults do I get today? But not only did he get those 3, he also got the I'm a Monster as well.
Oh, Michael Checo just walked into that one, but it was a bait! Hits level 5, first blood for the long lane assassin, Ao Kuang! Eat that Hindu man!
I hate it, he's dead though. He's dead though. Why did he go there?
That one I can't answer.
There you go. 1 for 1, and that's business as usual now back to the dual lane. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll take it. I'll hold my hands up and be like, fine, he got first blood. But what does he do? He just rotates to the jungle and die. No, Checo, no, bad Checo, bad.
That one I got nothing for, but the play in the long lane is working out. I love how he so the Neath ultimate comes through. We see the beads be burned by Air Cougar, and then Michael Checo kind of eats the ultimate. Nice little jump in from PB and Jelly to split those oracles and nobody gets the vision. And by eating the ultimate from the Medusa, it forces Air Cougar to come up a little bit closer. He takes the bait, Checo beads out of the statue, and just demolishes Cougs. Love the way he played it.
Not only that as well, now Cougar comes back to a lane that's already pushed in, which means he's got to overextend against Checo again when he doesn't have beads or his ultimate available this time round. So he's going to play this a lot better. And look what Checo does. Doesn't push away for a little while. He was just sat there under the tower farming away for a minute or two, making sure Cougar's going to overextend and need support.
And I asked for it earlier. I say it all the time. I say it almost too much. You got to play what you're good at, man. Don't give homie FA and Odin. Give him a hard carry. Give Mr. Checo something weird. Last game, he did his job, but he wasn't the hard carry. This game, Checo gets first blood because he's playing something out of position.
I knew for a fact when the Neath got locked in, I'm like, that is not dual lane.
No, we knew it wasn't going to Checo.
That is not dual lane. That is mid lane at best. And it works out because now they get the Morrigan and the Ao Kuang as well.
Yep.
Plenty of things for Morrigan to really make use of here. But the double threat, because even though Morrigan is a mage, you'd more than likely class it as an assassin. The same way you'd look at an Ao Kuang and go, technically an assassin, but its title's a mage. They have 2 of those types in this squad now, which is more of a threat as this game continues. The problem is, attack damage is on the lower end this game for Elevate this time around. They do have the Neath, which will weather the storm a little bit.
Right.
But she's not an auto-attack-based hunter as much as the others, more ability-based focus.
Exactly. So you sort of translate that to lack of structure damage. It's going to be tough for these towers to be taken down by Elevate. But the theory is that with the amount of damage and just killing prowess that Elevate have in their draft, that nobody's going to be able to deal with them while they slowly take down a tower because they're already dead.
Dr. L could be dead right now, but luckily enough, he juked the right way with the stealth back to safety. And PBJ is the one that's in a little bit more trouble now, especially with the World Weaver coming through.
And there's help from Checo. Over the top comes the monkey. It's going to control Mr. Checo, and Mifflin gets the kill.
With meditation, did you notice that on PB Jelly? Came out at the right time to stop the execute from Checo, confirming that window is very, very small of a window to execute at the right time. And doing it on console even harder, yet it was very well played by Chelly to make sure that came out at the right time.
I don't know if this window is open wide enough, Hindu man. Gold Fury down to half HP at the hands of Obey. Elevate right around the corner. Obey gonna leash it. Ultimate out of the mid lane, gonna be completely off the mark. Jelly in a bad spot. Baronic takes the kill. Jelly down for the money. Great save. Baronic gets the double kill, and it's all thanks to Kenshin.
Respect the Khepri. You can't overlook Khepri at any given moment, and that's exactly what Obey did there. They were looking for 2 easy, at least 1 easy pick onto Dr. L, but factor in Khepri will revive one of these members. They got baited heavily there, did Obey. They felt like they were in a commanding position, and you called it yourself. You didn't like it. For me, I didn't like it because Khepri had that revive, and that's exactly what went wrong.
Yeah, it was really rough for Obey. You know, talking to some of the members of Obey earlier, I think a lot of people at home think Obey is just the better team flat out than Elevate. But There's some of the players on Obey said, look, I'm not too happy about playing Elevate. We don't like to play against cheese. Here's my statement, not even a question. Alternative tactics are not
This isn't cheese. Yeah, this isn't cheese right now. It's not like they try to proxy farm and take a tier 1 tower before the minions spawn or anything like that. It's not like they rushed a Gold Fury right at the beginning of the game with all 5 members and then tried to turn that into a win. They just picked an Ao Kuang in a lane. Like, that's the only thing that happened. It's not cheesy.
And that's what Elevate does, and this is where I see the successful teams. It makes me think of Eager over there on PC. When you're able to say, you know what, screw the meta, I'm playing what I'm good at.
Again. Lucky Mifflin did not manage to find that monkey toss, but with the Will Weaver coming in, that was a good call from Checo, and you may not realize it, but Checo asked for help there because he realized he was in trouble, and the response from Baronic was amazing. Comms are really good on Elevate right now, and that just showed it, even a very small window there, that it was so strong.
It's a lot of fun watching this team Elevate. Like I said, they're a little bit more creative than some of the other teams.
I heard that click. Did you just break your pen?
Yeah, I'm really upset, actually. I've had this pen for so long.
Yeah?
Yes, I got it from SiegeCon. I gave a talk over at SiegeCon a number of years ago, and I just broke it, and I'm really upset.
Rest in peace.
Thank you for bringing that out to the broadcast.
I'm sorry, I heard the click through the broadcast microphone, so I'm like, well, if everybody else heard it too, should all know exactly what's wrong with Tom right now.
Well, now I have what used to be a great relic in my hand. I have no segue for that. I thought I was going to go into about relics, but I got nothing.
I can save you ready?
Yeah, do it.
Talking about relics, Obey were the world champions, but the way they're playing right now, they are looking a little bit like relics.
Yeah, just a little bit outdated at the moment. Playing their old school strategies against some new school jank.
And that's the funny thing about these two teams against each other. We've said world champions are Obey, but they've not been playing their usual self since the world championships. They're not performing as well as we've been expecting them to do. However, Elevate, for me, are overachievers. When you look at the squad and you look at what they've done in a short space of time, there is talent on this team, but you don't expect it to come together as much as it has done to be able to take on the likes of Obey.
Which is why a best of 5 should bode well for the guys on Obey. How long can Elevate sort of ride the cloud is the question. Because game number 2, Elevate looked like the better team hand over fist. Whereas Obey, on the other hand, game number 1, Elevate looked like, why are they even here? So the fact that Elevate have that big swing in game number 3 keeping it up, watch out, Monkey Man.
Mifflin got baited heavily by Checo this time round. Miflin's still so worried about the engage from Dr. L coming in as Dr. L has turned into Bologna.
Air Cougar goes ahead,
Double
gets
rallies.
jumped on. Here's a couple of hammers coming out. Delny gets a hit. There's help from Kenshin to save Dr. L, but here comes Odin. Jelly puts him down.
Jelly still has the ring available, but I don't think Obey want to fight anymore until Dwurst turns up, and Dwurst is closing the gap round the back. Checo is a prime target for him. Checo will dip to the right-hand side. Delny, on the other hand, he's not going anywhere.
Dwurst tosses 2 towards the Odin, but there's not a lot of damage on Jelly. He's a support, and he's built like one. So where is the damage coming from? It's going to be an easy retreat for the guys on Elevate.
Slow but surely, though, because Downey's still in trouble, and I was expecting Delta Marine's cooldowns were available on the second rotation, and that's what will pick up Delny as well to even things out a little bit, at least in terms of kills.
And it ties the game in gold as well, just separated by about 50 to 60 gold wave to wave. Certainly a good look for the defending world champions. 11-11, make a wish, and Obey certainly wishing that they can take this Gold Fury easily. Mr. Checo and Boronic here from the north and the east. This is dangerous. Boronic gonna shoot his shot. Obey are able to take it, and they'll walk away clean.
It wasn't as dangerous as you thought. Raph being available there for Obey. They knew they had it in the bag the whole way. Up against a Neef and an Ao Kuang. I mean, one of them goes in. Yeah, you can maybe skim a kill or get the goal for you cheekily if you're super lucky, but you are guaranteed dead if you do that.
Yeah, so rough stuff coming out for Elevate as they watch Obey snatch away the lead, although ever so slightly, just about 1,000.
And think about how that fight initiated there. It was Checo walking towards Mifflin, Mifflin going, why are you trying to attack me? I'm going to smash you in the face. And as he goes to do that, a World Weaver comes through, and Mifflin forced it all defensively on the run, just trying to stay alive. That allowed Elevate that window to have the engagement they did.
And you know why Mifflin pops that ultimate? Because 2 players on the side of Elevate can go invisible.
And he heard one of them because Dr. L had popped that as well.
Yeah.
Elevate, though, trying to answer back at this portal demon now. I like the call to try and go for this. The last engagement went well enough, and Mifflin's already in trouble.
And he's going to jump over the wall. Meanwhile, Jelly jumps over the right side.
World
Barani
Weaver
gets the kill onto the jungler. Jelly surrounded by Elevate jerseys. He's going to walk right on through and away to safety. Dwarf's still here looking at the portal demon. Meditation comes out for Elevate. They're ready to bang.
Don't like the positioning coming out from Elevate in this fight.
Stolen away!
Obey will get it for free. They all backed away at the wrong time in there. A little bit worried about the next engagement coming through from Obey. Obey, and Obey punished them heavily. They get a kill, but they lose the Portal Demon.
Elevate careful at all the wrong times here, and over-aggressive just the same. We've seen Elevate be too aggressive when Obey have all the tools of the world, and then when all Obey has is a single move, Elevate full retreat and allow Dwarfs to pick up the Portal Demon with the spin cycle. Just wrong choice, wrong time coming out from Elevate, and not only do they lose the lead that they got earlier by 1,000, another 500 gold on top.
The issue is it's a secondary call in these engagements. The very first calls from Elevate to engage are amazing. The right call at the right time every single time. Problem is that when the second call is due to come, the call is incorrect or met with uncertainty from the roster, and that's causing them problems.
That's what it is for me. It's the lack of commitment to the call. Elevate last game, we heard how strong those comms were, and it was all thanks to just steady leadership. Listen, play it safe, play it slow. If that's the game that Elevate are going to play, that's how that works. You know what? Next team fight, Hindu, I'm going to toss to a listen in on Elevate. I really want to hear the breakdown of how these guys are going out during these mid-game team fights when everything's on the line versus when they have a massive lead.
If we catch the very first team fight of their comms too, just compare it to the second, a follow-up potential team fight, especially if it's not a clean or it's just a pick, because that's where it seems to be going wrong for Elevate right now. We saw that Portal Demon where multiple members started backing away from it relatively early when they were the ones in the control seat.
Dr. L by himself, surrounded by 3. Fear no evil. What did you do, bud? Why?
Had beads. Just so you know, he did have beads available there for Dr. L, but I don't think he thought he was spotted as he stealthed round the corner.
I'm glad he didn't use the beads because he was dead even if he beads. But I think that was a just, again, wrong decision, wrong place, wrong time, wrong everything for Dr. L, who has had a fantastic outing this afternoon, not making it happen again.
Morrigan can be great, but she's still squishy, and if you get in the wrong position as her, you will not live very long.
And just like that, a single pick opens the door for Obey to just walk in and take out a tier 1 tower.
Now here's one thing we've not really spoken about just yet, but the problem that Elevate definitely have on defense is their wave clear. They're only really going to be able to rely on Neef for the most part to put substantial wave clear down.
Right.
And if Neef doesn't have the Spirit Arrow available, hold that a second. Dwarfs in a bit of trouble on this right-hand side. Don't think he realized there was 4 of them there.
Yeah, as the ultimate out of the big man, we saved from Neef, and he's going to go down to the count. Dr. L on the good side of that one. 2 players in Obey jerseys being chased out by Delney. He'll let him go. It's all about the farm in towards the mid lane.
But not only that, they also got Mifflin's Fear No Evil there. Actually, tell a lie, you didn't get Mifflin's Fear No Evil. That was Dr. L's Fear No Evil that came out on that side. I got baited then. I was like, hang on a second, didn't I just see Fear No Evil in mid lane?
Yep.
Damn, I hate Morrigan.
Certainly makes our lives difficult, but if that's us from a distance, imagine how Obey feels.
Mifflin, what are you doing ulting me? I'm trying to get out of here.
It's got to be even more troublesome, which is why the Morrigan is such a wonderful pick as Elevate pick off the right side tower.
And talking about picking off that right side tower, that's very important for Elevate here. We just talked about how their team fights are very sporadic. They have to rely on getting away and poking people out time and time again. Checo's been caught here, though, has no stealth.
He's going to be able to lift one up in trouble. Kenshin saves the day. Well done.
Now, going back to what I was saying, Elevate needs to split the map up. They need to go for these tier 1 towers, maybe send Balone and Morrigan together, just go and get a tier 1 on one side while the rest of the team focuses engaging on another side. Splitting the map is very important because trying to take on a straight 5v5, I don't think is the best idea for Elevate against this Obey lineup.
This is scary for Obey if they want to look towards the gold sphere that just spawns. 2 of their squishier characters, Mifflin and Air Cougar, who are also 2 of the characters that need to be involved, are not very healthy. A couple of shots out of Elevate. Those guys go down, all of a sudden, it's a team fight in Elevate's favor.
I would like to see Obey play the waiting game on ultimates, though, because they should realize their ultimate cooldowns are a little bit better off than that of their opposition, especially big important ones, like the Fear No Evil being available for them a little bit more often, and the Ring, compared to the likes of Morrigan's ultimate, which isn't going to be up as often. And so when it's on cooldown, they should be looking to try and invest into Dr. L a little bit and just continue to pick on him, because they've done okay so far at that.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. L 1, 2, and 5. He's fallen down 2 times, but both of those times have resulted in a very strong push for Obey. You're looking at both the tier 1 tower and one of the original Gold Furies going the way of Obey after kills onto Dr. L. So by taking the Morrigan out of the equation, you just have so many more options because you're not afraid of well, everything that she has access to. Petrify, Fear No Evil, Ring, I'm a Monster. Take your choice. By taking Dr. L out, you're just that much more liable to be safely attacking your objective.
And this game as well, as it stands, is relatively even between the two. But when I look towards the mid to late game, we're in mid-game about now is when we're starting to hit that pace. But the late game, for me, Elevate technically went out just by having a Morrigan.
And by an Ao Kuang, just finishing up this Polynomicon. This becomes a scary spot. Elevate started the Gold Fury. They're going to leash it a little bit. I got excited. I almost tossed it to the listening.
The reason they did that leash of the Gold Fury there is because Checo was wrapping around the back. He was looking for the first-time responders to the engagement there, looking to try and find a pick. And then if they could do that, then they can win the fight off the back of it. Bad news is the first-time responders weren't in the right position to find it.
Exactly. So that's going to shut down what the game plan was. But I expect to see that play a couple more times. Elevate starting the Gold Fury again. Gonna play it safe, half HP. Let's listen to Elevate as they go for the objective.
Who's going on?
Guys, I got a lot. All the cooldowns are down. Okay. I'm back.
That's his. Nice.
Basic, you're back.
Pull him?
I can't.
Get back on.
Just pull it.
They know we're on.
Who's gonna zone?
Go in.
They're coming in.
Careful.
Two kill, one in the front. Right here. I'll shoot it.
Behind.
Really close. I played the fucking. Oh no.
Scylla B.
Still. Nice, watch out. Oh shit, we're in trouble. It's only two. 2v3. Nice. Nah, shit.
Come on, Downey. Come on.
So again, my story stays the same for Elevate. When you listen to these guys are just almost there. They know what they have to be thinking about.
Yes.
They know what they have to be thinking about, but the difference between a tier 1 team and the teams just below, you don't say who is going to zone, you say X player will zone.
Hey, on top of that, you can say who is going to zone, but you want a freaking response from one of them.
Yes.
Like, one of them needs to be going, I'll do it.
Which is
like nobody did it. What ended up happening there on that when you actually listen to the comms, Downey jumps in.
Yeah.
But there's no comm talk about who's going in and what's going on there. That's the secondary shot calling. The first shot calling was the engagement, which we didn't catch right at the beginning, but we did catch them talking about disengaging from that, which is part of the first shot call.
Yeah.
The secondary shot call is back to the Gold Fury. Who's zoning? Silence.
Exactly. On a top tier team, on an established, mature team. I mean, as a leader myself, you never ask, you tell. Who is loading versus Delny is zoning. There is no question, there is no statement, there is no section to think. It is just, yes, I will zone. Somebody told me to do my job.
And what ends up happening in the end is because they don't have that correct communication for themselves, they lose the team fight, they lose multiple members in that team fight, and the Gold Fury. Not only the Gold Fury, but look at that big blue old portal that's on the right-hand side. That's also the way of Obey.
And that's going to be a big swing as we approach 21 minutes on the clock. 18 kills in total, and 10 of them belong to Obey. 5,000 kills, or 5,000 gold in the way of Obey.
Elevate is showing they have the ability to go toe-to-toe. They're also showing they have the picks and ban strategies to go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams on console. The only thing they're not showing is the communication is at the same level, and all three of those things are an equal factor.
This is a growing team. The reason I dissected that comms was not to shame Elevate, but to show that they're walking in the right direction.
Exactly, yeah.
They belong in this semifinals, and frankly, Hindu Man, I think that they can win this semifinals. If they want to find themselves further and more successful in the future, these are the things they have to fix, and they're walking in the direction that they can fix them.
Just so you know, as we watch Cougar going to get soloed down here on the left-hand side, there's no escape from that. I was going to say, just so you know, I said Elevate have showed that they can do picks and bans well, and that means I'm including pick in this Ao Kuang, which I really do not want to admit, but it's worked out.
Hey, man.
It has worked out. For now.
Michael Checo, out of control on this pick. Like I said, embrace the jank if that's what you do.
Yeah, embrace the jank, but at the same time, you need help like an Eagle's rally from Delny there. He didn't really find what he was looking for, but the ring is dropped, and that pull is great!
Right into the mid lane damage from Delta Marine. He picks up one after the ultimate. Trouble for Kenshin, and that's going to be Mifflin's dinner. 3, 2, and 8 for the under-the-weather jungler, still able to show up.
And now Obey have a pressure point in mid lane yet again to look to exploit. That's why Dwirs is still going in, looking to try and push Neath back a little bit further. They can look for the tier 2 tower here, but you know what they really want? They want that man, Mr. Michael Checo.
Yeah, he's going to be in some trouble. Mifflin tries to take the shot in the dark. Can't find it, but comes
almost
very
like
close.
stealth lasts too long in Ao Kuang, right? Like how long he lived there. Dr. L, though, he ain't going to live very long.
Delta Marine picks up another. Obey trying to take this one from a close game into definitely their battlefield. Looking for their second win. Of course, reminding you this is a best of 5, so both teams need 3 wins in order to take it home.
So with the comps as well, Elevate had this sort of pick off people strategy with the Neath and the Ao Kuang, and obviously with having a Morrigan on their side, but they keep taking these fights now against Obey as a full 5-man Obey unit. And when you've got an Odin, a Jing 10, a Medusa, as well as a Hun Bats and a Scylla, you don't want to take them on 5v5. You can't do that.
Michael Checo looking for the pick on the back end does not come up good. He finds his 4th death of the contest. And Elevate now continuing their look at Fire Giant. Half HP on the big man. Delny gets picked up by the ultimate out of the monkey and tossed the other direction.
Too deep.
And Dwarf sends them back to the fountain.
Too deep from Downey there, looking to try and see the help on the Fire Giant, and it's causing them more problems because Baronic's now dead. Thanks to the Armor Monster, Dwarf will just go in and clean this up. Scrap that, Jelly wants it himself instead.
Nice little side step coming out from the Hunter mid player, but Jelly able to make it happen with the Gungear's Might, taking him down for the money, 16-9, as Obey stretching their lead one more time.
This will be a tier 1 on the right-hand side to follow this up as well. There's not enough health on it left to have Elevate try and defend it, especially when they've only got the Morrigan and Kepri available to do so.
I do like how Obey, I love how Obey lets the game come to them. That was a Fire Giant attempt, and then as soon as a couple of things changed, variables go in a different direction after the team fight, stuff on cooldown, less mana than they would like, they change from the Fire Giant to the tower, understanding that the initial plan is not always going to be the correct one.
And now it's just a waiting game for Obey to go back towards the Fire Giant again. With the Gold Fury spawning though, I'd like him to potentially ward up one on the other and then go and siege the other one, because if they get a rotation out of Elevate towards the Gold Fury like now, they could be on the Fire Giant and go, give him the gold, we'll take fire instead, it works out better for us.
Elevate looking toward the gold. Mifflin, the only player here until Cougar and Delta Marine join up. And that looks like to be that. Elevate not interested in the Gold Fury attempt any longer.
It's because Elevate is starting to realize now that every single time they try and straight up 5v5 team fight Obey, the team fight ultimates are just stronger out of Obey and making more of an impact than Elevate can with trying to burst a single target down.
Gold Fury easily taken by Obey. Elevate wanted nothing to do with that one. And that's really the big thing. By going the Neath and the Ao Kuang, the biggest thing that you're missing is large AoE team fight damage in this draft. So, you know, that's what you're coming up flat with.
We've noticed the damage output, we've noticed the god in the mid lane, but we've not spoken about him once just yet. But for Obey, the carry of this game is Delta Marine right now. 6, 1, and 8. His damage output has been amazing in these team fights. He's the one that has been turning them around most of the time when things have not gone well. His ultimates have been on point in the correct situational usage. He's even held it in the initial fight to wait for the secondary, where Elevate are the ones that have always been struggling.
Even when Mifflin's on 100%, Delta Marine is still a very big part of what Obey does.
Yep.
I think you look at this team and you go, Air Cougar is always going to be a consistent hunter, giving you good stuff, but Mifflin and Delta Marine are 2 of the harder carries.
This Portal Demon's very important though, and you can see how both of them are fighting over it right now. Elevate are trying to pick off a target. Checo's going to try and bait Obey back for a second. It'll release the pressure on the Portal Demon for now, but only for now.
For now. Here comes the aggression out of Elevate. Still looking for another team fight here. Elevate Kenshin, going to be pushed just a little bit. Going very aggressive. Kenshin's in the wrong spot. He's going to go ahead and use the ultimate on himself. And the patience out of Obey is going to pay off. Kenshin walks out the back end.
Dr. L versus Marine. Marine's is down. Delta's down. Big pick for Elevate as Baronic takes him out. Meanwhile, Cougar's been forced out by Delny, and Sir Michael Checo to the rescue.
Still, it's going to be a 2 for 2 right now. Checo has a lot available to him, not the option of the ultimate, however. Still a lot of damage with that Polynomicon. Big hammer coming out from Delny. Can he make it work? 3 players from Obey, very healthy.
Tanky.
Nobody's getting the Fire Giant if this is a clean fight.
The damage dealers at the back are too low to really get involved, and that means that Downey's been isolated, battling against 2 tanky targets, and of course the monkey man himself, Mifflin.
That's a win for Elevate, however. These teams are separated by 10,000 gold. Elevate, if they come up even, it's a win. They're looking to stop the Fire Giant. So Obey, they can't get the big boy any longer because of the damage that Elevate was able to do. Coming up even is traditionally not a win for the team behind because the enemy team can continue to farm on. But with the idea that Fire Giant was next on the menu if Obey wins that team fight, that's why that comes up clean.
And the picks for Elevate were correct as well. They take out Delta Marine and Air Cougar, the 2 major sources of damage on this Obey roster. Yes, Mifflin is the after factor of that, which will put a lot of damage out with a full pen build, but you can't pick all 3 at the same time, one at a time. Scylla into Air Cougar, then you're looking at Mifflin. Bad news is they lost backline themselves, but at least they focused the right targets.
So that time around, Dr. L turns into Scylla, which I think is the best option. I just lamented the fact, as Obey picks up the portal, that Elevate, with their composition, they lack AoE team fight damage. Scylla's an excellent option for the Morgan to go ahead and select if they're going to take these 5-on-5 engagements.
The problem is, though, is even though Elevate won that team fight technically, because we know they were trying to delay the Fire Giant, they gave away the Portal Demon straight after, even though they technically had more members on the map.
Yeah.
Before Obey did. And Obey just walk up and go, all right, I guess we'll take this and you're not going to contest. And that's exactly what went on.
Elevate have been sort of conditioned into playing down. They're down 10K. How dangerous can you go? I don't know what Kenshin was doing there. The first team fight.
So Kenshin overly telegraphed what he wanted to do. He was after the abduct on Scylla. That's all it was. If I can abduct Scylla, I'm going to get her beads immediately, which means we can invest more into it. Maybe a Fear No Evil out of the Morrigan, right? But by doing what he did, you are literally just making a laser pointer in your head like, I am after you. And so Scylla stared at him. The whole squad stared at him and went, what are you smoking? And then smoked him instead.
Exactly. Just take control of the bug, stomp him out, and throw him off of the edge of the world. That's exactly what happened to Kenshin.
That's also the problem that Elevate did with this draft, though. We did mention how the draft is a little bit skewed with this game, but it worked out for them in the early stages. Look at their levels of engage from this team, F-Dot. Realistically, the only real engage they've got is an Ao Kuang full commit, a World Weaver, or it's the Eagles Rally. Outside of that, you're going to have to rely on an Abduct, which is what Kenshin was trying to do there, or Dr. L looking for a flank, just the same way an Ao Kuang would.
Yeah, a little bit rough as far as that one's concerned. Michael Checo.
They know where he is.
Looking for the backside. I don't know. Oh, yes, they certainly do. He's on top of a ward. He'll find himself safely away thanks to that little blink, but very scary positioning coming out from Michael Checo, walking over the enemy's vision.
I would have liked to have seen Obey all face forward still, even though they recognized him until he walked further out, because the route from the Sikkim would have been enough for Delta Marine to two-shot him, potentially on that left-hand side.
This time, though, they don't see Checo. There's no vision this time, but they're already on the retreat. Nice flip coming out from Dwurst, but he might be in trouble. Checo, so patient. Finally now, letting himself be seen. He's 4-4-2, and his damage so far has not exactly brought him up to the top. He's sitting about 4 from the bottom, but it's been important.
I don't care how much damage my assassin does in a game, as long as he does what I need him to do, which is take out the primary targets. Delta Marine and Air Cougar are the 2 that you want to see the Ao Kuang dismantle.
Checo controlled, love the play out of Dwurst right there. He knows what's coming. He reads the abilities and steps out. Checo's going to back to base, elevate, give up the tier 2. I like that call.
Down to the fact they don't have wave clear at these towers.
They don't have a mage.
The problem is they've only really got Baronic here to be able to put out any consistent range damage to clear the wave quickly. Sure, Kenshin can throw out his 2 to get some decent dot damage off, but those minions live long enough for people to get free pot shots off of the tower like this.
The Morgan making the rotation of the right side as the tier 2 tower falls down. This is free gold that Elevate should not be giving away. 14,000 gold deficit for the red and white. Still trying to fight into it is Elevate. Very split up, however.
But look at their positioning. You've got 3 of the damage dealers looking to burst the target down, and the only option they get to choose from is Jelly, because Jelly's like, this is my zone. If you want to fight me here, I will fight you as I am Odin, and I will ring you all in a circle, and you probably won't even kill me.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what Jelly's up to right now. Taking a look at the build, so tanky. He's got his 3 auras and a little bit of help from a Stone of Gaia. And that's just going to be a nice look for the Odin.
I like the idea of the come from Elevate. They've just not managed to bring it to fruition now, and Obey have just gone back to what normally happens in games, where one team takes a small lead and then one team fight is where it all changes the course of the game. And it was that team fight around that Portal Demon after Reset went in the way of Elevate, because Obey are the ones that got the objectives off her and then just continued to pressure.
Yeah, Scylla's out of control. I mean, we're looking at Delta Marine, top damage, top kills on his squad, just out of control. He's making everybody just look slower than he is.
Credit where it's due, though, the fact that Baronix kept pace on him the Neef up to this point. But this is where the big impacts will start to be made, where Scylla's got a little bit better range with her abilities up against a Neef, obviously the World Weaver excluding, but to get off AoE damage, which is more important. Line skill shots like Baronic has on this Neef is a little bit different compared to the massive area of damage from Crush.
Over a half hour of play here, folks. And Elevate find themselves trailing by over 10,000 gold. Very nice plays coming from Obey. Finally able to really take advantage of Elevate. And I love that Obey have identified the problem with Elevate's draft, if you will. The fact that, I've said it 3 or 4 times now, no hard AoE damage. And with that, Obey can safely take these team fights without the threat of a Zeus ult, a Ho Yi ult, of a big mage, anything.
But Elevate have to contest really, really soon. They can't give up the Portal Demon or even the Fire Giant as well. That'll probably come in tow from that. They have to make sure that if Obey get this, they get punished with a loss of life at the best, at the worst.
So not only are Elevate willing to take the fights.
Great pick in the mid lane there. Fantastic combination, using the stealth to the advantage. Checo distracts the Delta Marine so he doesn't see that round the back comes Dr. L. World Weaver instantly from Baronic, 4v5.
That's a beautiful adaptation. I'll dive in a little bit later. Mifflin in trouble, half HP. Drops the ultimate. Kenshin gonna get jumped on as well. Has to ultimate himself. Dr. L is now a Scylla, and he's gonna get controlled by Dwurst. He'll dash forward, Delny to the back line. Elevate, pick off one, start a fight. Unable to really do it. Meditation gives Obey chance
But what's the call now, Elevate? What's the call? Because last time you messed it up, Portal Demon's still alive. Checo to the back looking at Cougar. Jelly on the front side still helping enough. Cougar's not. He's a dragon.
And that's going to be Checo from the sky. He's got Jelly in his sights. He's got Mifflin in his sights. Picks the jungle. Lands a little bit too far forward. There's a nice teleport coming out for the monkey. Checo plays it safe. That's a tier 2, tier 1 tower for Elevate. That's how they get back in.
Should be tier 2 this. Instead, they've got a base for some reason. They could have taken tier 2 in mid lane if they wanted to here. With these tags on the front line, there's not a whole lot they can do to stop them with no ultimates being available here. Yeah, body block some shots, but I guess they're worried about Delta Marine and Mifflin coming back. So go through the portal, buy up, go straight to the Fire Giant, and hopefully Mifflin won't get there in time.
And I like that call. Mifflin coming through does have the Fear No Evil available, but Elevate can eliminate him, and it's too late. Fear No Evil's dropped, but it just don't matter. Hugbug gets caught by the root. Excellent play by Delta Marine. That's one dead monkey if Delta Marine doesn't come through in the clutch.
Yeah, I agree. Mifflin was in a bit of trouble. To be fair, Mifflin did have his beads available there, but holding those beads and relying on a teammate, impactful for both of them there. Elevating the power play, and that all comes down to that pick on Delta Marine in the mid lane.
And that's what I want to bring up. So I mentioned before that Elevate, with the lack of mid lane or anywhere AoE damage, Obey takes advantage of that by going straight for the team fight. Obey also noticed after 2 or 3 picks, as Elevate pick up the free Gold Fury, that every time Michael Checo is going to come from around the backside, find a pick. Now, we lost Dare Cougar twice through that play. So Elevate adjust. Every time they group up, you'll notice a ward is behind them, so they see Michael Checo. Well, Obey adjust back, or Elevate adjust a second time. They send Checo with the Morrigan, they see Checo, they follow Checo, and they get Morrigan. Both of these teams are adapting on the fly. This is some of the best ways to watch Smite.
But the problem is, once it happens once, you can fool me once, but fool me twice is a different story.
Which is why you have to stay innovating.
Yep. Especially when you've got someone like Scylla, who has now, once again, beads and Aegis are available for her to use, so she's going to have a little bit more survivability of that whole combo coming through. It'll cost her both relics potentially, but as long as she lives, you've invested a lot already, which is able for Obey to once again turn it around.
It's all about which team is going to have more tricks up their sleeve. That's what these teams are doing.
For me, even more, though, is the focus onto the Scylla, because Scylla is the one that's impacting the game more so than anybody else in Obey.
Absolutely.
They should have realized this a little bit sooner to look for it, but that was the first window they've really had to catch Delta Marine. When we speak about position from the mid lanes in this game, we said they're really solid. That's one of the only times I've seen Delta Marine caught out, and it was mainly because of stealth than anything else.
Well, let's take a look at the graphs real quick here. Elevate making their return. You can see it peaked at about 12,000 gold lead for Obey. Now, coming down to about 8,600. This tier 2 towers, the tier 2 towers on the map, that's 3,000 gold right there. A 5K lead. This late in the game, I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'd take a 5K lead at this point. It's not going to be too detrimental, but I love the fact that Obey realized they can still team fight. They have the superior team fight under a tier 1, tier 2 tower as well. Not only did they have some extra damage coming out of that tier 2 because of the itemization choices, but what they also managed to do here, F-Dot, is force these stealthers to stay away from the tier 2 because it will provide vision to them stealthing.
I was going to mention that as well. You might see the tower looking a little funky right now.
Yeah, we do.
That's Emperor's armor coming out from the support player, PB and Jelly. That selection is going to, sure, make him tanky, but of course, it's going to amplify the damage that these towers give to Elevate, and that's going to be a big look for Obey. They're fighting 6-on-5, and Elevate have to find themselves in the right look.
Back, but look where the ward was yet again. Meanwhile, the front line do engage a little bit to relieve the pressure that they were going to turn towards Checo. The chipping down of the tier 2 tower is fortunate for Elevate. They get what they wanted, rotate towards the right-hand side.
Just bit by bit, play it slow. That's what Elevate said in game number 2, and that's how they were able to win game number 2. Sticking to their guns, they're playing it slow, they're playing it easy, and most importantly, Hindu, they're playing it safe.
I want to see more sentry wards coming out from Elevate, though. They're relying on 2 stealthers, which means them flanking around the back is really important to them. Sentry ward placements in deep positions like this are so fortuitous for them to be able to find an advantage that they really need. Yeah. Having Obey blind to that is important, and they've got to continue to do so.
Right now, Elevate looking at the middle lane. One more time. Let's ride along with Elevate again as they push up this mid lane with the Fire Giant.
Getting power.
Watch it, watch it. Donnie, I got ult ready for you.
What did I just
Nice,
take fire?
that's fine. Nice.
Nice.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I can still go in.
Anyone.
Okay.
I can still go in.
Nice.
Oh, I got knocked off! Oh my god, I got knocked off.
Get out.
Get out.
Back up.
Get out. Oh,
I'm gonna die, dude.
Run, I don't know if we can save you.
fuck.
Try to keep running now.
You're good,
I'm good.
Bro, he Jing 10 rooted as I went in.
That sucks. That's fine. We got the tower. We
That's
got
so unfortunate, dude.
Portal's coming up. We're still.
We can't get it.
They're gonna go for portal.
Scylla Aegis, and I think I should just.
Hey. Veronica, I'm probably gonna need you to maybe.
Yo, should I sell my plate helm for like a Deso or something? Go for the full one shot.
They're not going to it. They're not going to it.
Not yet. We need to be careful.
Say my polar guys.
Again, Elevate showing signs of promise, but then a little bit of green. I like the decision making coming out from Elevate. They're able to really rein themselves in. A 2 for 2 in the tower, that's what Elevate were looking for, but they don't get as much as possible.
Yeah, but it wasn't communicated well, because if you listen to it, Checo didn't tell his team anything about what was going on, and his team didn't recognize what was going on until he'd already found the pick.
Yeah.
If they did find that out a little bit earlier, Elevate could have committed heavily and put Obey on the back foot. So once the pick goes down there, Checo's going to dip on his own, and that's when Obey force Elevate to fight and turn that fight on its head. Now they can look at the Portal Demon.
Well, Delny's here. Portal Demon does go the way of Obey. Elevate kind of pressured them, but not enough. Still sitting down about 7,000 gold. Probably a little bit scared about taking that fight.
Lack of secure as well. We kept bringing it up. They don't really have a securing ultimate or an ability, really, outside of the Spirit Arrow from Neef to really secure these objectives, unless you get into dot damage territory, which is way, way too risky.
Yeah, I mean, it just becomes a lottery roll. It's just a dice roll.
Pretty much.
See what happens.
Pretty much, that's what you kind of have to do sometimes. But, or the other way is to force them off completely, you've got to dive in. But by diving in is something that Elevate don't want to take a fight against Obey if they can help it. Love the fact that Checo is still trying to flank every single time. You heard him on comms there talking about trying to potentially go for the one-shot by investing in more damage. He didn't go for more damage, though. He went for defense.
And I like the Magi's blessing here. Obey have a lot of crowd control, and that's what's going to mess him up.
Spied.
Yeah.
But he just gets away in time in the right direction,
Ooh,
too.
ooh.
Cougar, a bit of damage on the back, though.
Yeah, it's going to be the Soul Reaver right there. The pop out of the invisibility is going to hurt Air Cougar, but he will be able to heal it up just a little bit thanks to that Aussie.
But we need more sentry wards from Elevate. Look where Checo is now. If he had one, he would know he was on a ward. He tried to one-shot Cougar, though, so he had two-shot. But the reinforcements from Obey are here.
It forces the meditation. Delny over the top, stuns out Cougar, forcing him to exit down south. Checo, he's aware, but he's in trouble. He's going to get poked out by Scylla. Now surrounded by two tanky targets. He's going to go ahead and find himself safe and sound.
Elevate.
But where's his team?
They're trying to do Fire Giant, and they've got to do it quick because Checo was trying to buy them time. Obey are an experienced squad, though, F-Dot. They know that was a distraction, and the main objective is still being pressured.
Dr. L's able to poke Mifflin out, and Elevate get a full retreat. Dr. L gets the kill on Mifflin. Well done, as Mifflin walks into some minions.
Minions OP.
Minions just OP.
But so is Crush. That was a nice knock-up coming out from Dwurst again. You heard it a couple of times round. Delny goes to the back to hit onto Delta Marine some more. Mystical Male just ticking away. There is quite a few members of Elevate here, and a Monkey for Elevate.
Fear no evil, but it's immune by Delta Marine's ultimate. Wonderful heads-up play, but it do not matter. Michael Checo coming through in the clutch.
But Checo's in trouble now on the backside. He will be a casualty of war here. Kenshin under the Phoenix as well. They can't even attack the Phoenix with the tier 2 still going. Elevate invested in kills and not the tier 2 tower, so they might not get as much as they want.
Yeah, that's not the discipline that Elevate showed earlier. Earlier on, Elevate was very stringent. They look, go for the tower, go for the tower, go for the tower. This time they go for the kills. They get punished a little bit for it. Still, goes in Elevate's favor. It's a 1 for 2, and ladies and gentlemen, look at the lead. Just significantly cut, 22-17. What used to be a 15,000 gold lead for the defending world champions Obey, cutting short ever so slightly.
Cougar
Elevate
tries to get the
trails by
Petrify
5.
off. He will, but the World Weaver comes out from Baronic to clean it up. Talking about Baronic, Dwurst is still on him.
There's the jump in from the solo lane, protecting his mid lane Neath. 4th time starting up the Fire Giant. Elevate realize they can't do this.
They still can't do it. Elevate are trying everything they can to try and get an advantage in this game and close it out. But they just can't find that winning fight that could give them the game.
They're still on the path. I do not mind. I don't want to see them skip steps. I want to see them just slowly ascend. Let's take a look at the graphs. It's just a wonderful, wonderful look when we get a look at the visual of how this game is breaking down. Elevate now trail by 4,000 gold, Hindu.
Sure.
That's incredible looking at where they came from.
But
look at this graph.
Hey, at 44 minutes in, though, it's not down to experience. It's not down to gold anymore, because everyone should be relatively full build by this point. Maybe a support train a little bit after, but the one thing that is important is death time.
It's just the story of how much Elevate has been able to take back from the opposition. This is just so much fun to watch.
And I agree, but objectives are important in terms of the towers, and one of the ways to get to those towers is getting the Fire Giant for that buff for the regeneration.
And here's going to be Delny leading the charge, looking for the fight. Nice Fear No Evil coming out to separate Mifflin from the rest of the crowd. There's a hit from the jungle. Excuse me, the Hunter, Michael Checo. One more time on the back line. And Delta Marine is next, battling it out. Pop, double kill for the Checo.
Now, though, the Petrify from Cougar was big on 3, but it didn't slow Elevate's advance down. Dwurst has to get out. Jelly has to get out. It's 2 frontliners and 1 carry available for Obey against Elevate, who have 4 members in very, very healthy positions.
Michael Checo needs to stay alive a little bit more, but if he's able to trade 2 lives out for every one of his own, that's the job he does as an Ao Kwang at 45 minutes. His team, on the other hand, has to be able to clean up or get the objective after the fact, and that's the problem that we're seeing. Elevate unable to stretch.
You know, the problem we're seeing as well is Elevate don't have damage to kill the Fire Giant quickly, and this is causing them so many more problems too, especially when you've got Dr. L not focusing the Fire Giant, trying to zone away. Look where Cougar is, though. Cougar? That ain't your Phoenix.
Cougar's going up towards the mid lane. Elevate realized that Fire Giant. Dr. L.
He's going to hold another L. Like, he's done a couple today. He's done some great plays, but that one's another hold. And now Cougar is going to get the Phoenix. Where is Elevate?
Elevate, they're coming from around the back end. It's going to be a little bit too late.
He's going to die for this.
Kenshin finds it. Beads are you.
He gets the Phoenix, though.
Phoenix is the important spot. Able to walk on out thanks to the ring from Jelly. Cougar dies to the long-range shot out of Moronic.
Doesn't matter.
Take that for Data.
Doesn't matter, though, because he got what he really wanted. That Phoenix has put Obey in the lead in this game. Take into account, no one has a Fire Giant. We've not seen a Fire Giant for quite a while now on either team. Elevate will have a power play with a one-man advantage, but they can't do the Fire Giant because they've not got the damage to burst it without killing the enemy team first.
And that's one of the problems, again, with this Elevate roster. Not enough team fight damage. Michael Checo's doing everything he can to find these picks. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, but it's just not enough. We need to see more commitment to the entire team fight, and it's just not enough.
Here he comes again from the right-hand side, this time straight towards Delta Marine, who gets the Sentinel away to safety. Big Fear No Evil on multiple members, though. Checo gets revived, but he's not going to need it, as Dwurst pulls one into the Iron Monster, but it was Delny who can stay strong and tall.
And Michael Checo still on the outside looking in, does have the ultimate available to him, but more importantly, Kenshin's ultimate is gone. Tossed it over there on the Ao Kuang, and with that space, Obey's going to start the Portal Demon.
Dr. L has his ultimate available coming down the mid lane, looking to rejoin the fight, and Elevate are buying enough time to get Dr. L back in this engagement too, and I think Obey recognized that.
And listen, Elevate don't have the damage to activate or take any of these objectives, but Obey don't have the space or the time to do so either, because Elevate are just harassing them every step of the way.
And the longer these games go, the more territory that these teams haven't been in recently about. It's been 27 minutes was the average game time for most of the league this year so far. A 47-minute game, that's getting towards double the length. How often do you play at this late of a stage and have to compete at the highest level?
And we still have games to play. Obey right now, PB and Jelly relatively low, gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Teams dancing around. Let's listen to Obey as they take on Elevate.
Ao Kuang's gonna be here full health.
Help Johnny.
I need a back. I need a back. Yeah, back right now. Back right now. Back right now. They're on it. They're on it. They're on it.
I have blink ult. They have a sentry in the back. We need one bottom left. I can't be the one to check it.
It's a little below half.
I just let him have it. Let him have it.
Morgan's in. Morgan's in.
They might chase us out.
Morgan in the back.
Morgan.
Yeah, let's go! We need to get out. Just pull on disengage.
Play smart, boys. Play smart.
Mid's pouring in. Mid's pouring in. Mid's pouring in. Mid's pouring in.
Yeah, they're gonna. Kemper's backing. They can't
Kemper's
fire.
backing.
It's
Kemper's
4v4. It's 4v4.
Kemper's back.
Back. Go, 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 go,
Go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go, go, go, go.
I'm on it. Morgan.
Neat backflip. Morgan. Let's hear it. Humbug. She's on Humbug.
I may need to take a lot of damage. Need to just down.
Look at Morgan.
Humbug. Morgan right here. On the right.
I can't catch up.
Back up.
I got Outlaws. He still has ult. That's his beads.
Dude, their team is unreal, bro.
I'm dead.
I tried to block it.
They can
That's
scam
good.
that. Fuck.
We played too passive for too long.
Yeah,
we just let them jump back into the game.
We needed like, well before I got picked mid there, we were just like playing passive.
You heard at the end there, that team is unreal. Was it the team? Was it the comp? It doesn't matter. Elevate are going to take game 3 in this best of 5. We mentioned motivation after game 2. After Elevate had the motivation and they brought out a very interesting comp that had a lot of issues, but they still